Here's a look at a body style produced by Chris Ogaz of TnC Products and Ogaz Enterprises. I've seen a similar body style to this that was marketed as a Jackal body, and it was not as cut through and it didn't have as extensive of milling as this body does. And recently, earlier this year, I saw a post on M. Carter Brown trying to identify a body that Benji actually owned that said lightning on the side. And Chris Ogaz posted in that thread, and he identified the lightning body as his own. And he also sent me photos of various other body styles he had done, including this body style, which he referred to as the 3D bubble body. Chris said that his inspiration for this body style was just to stick paintballs in the upper tube of an autococker and enlarge them in the 3D program. And so you have a body style that looks like it has ribbing, or what Chris described as paintballs stuck in it. Chris also machined these frames for Spanky and for FBM, and he put them on his own autocockers as well. This one has the flame milling inside of it. The internals are close to WGP, but they're a little different. They don't use the bent spring on the top of the trigger. They just use the standard sear and spring underneath it. Not only did Chris machine the frames, but he also machined the triggers and the sears as well. When we look at this body style, we can see that these are all pieces that Chris machined. Some of these pieces are used on some Spanky and possibly FBM autocockers, but these parts were made by Chris. So we have a front block, a somewhat matched back block, and the vertical ASA with similar ribbing to the bubbles in the body, the feed neck, and this pattern on the back of the frame. It's unclear how many of these bodies Chris machined for Jackal and how many of them he machined for himself to sell as TnC, but I've seen probably 3 to 4 outside of what Chris had when I met with him. One key feature on a lot of Chris's bodies is this blank plate here, which Chris would actually engrave with whichever shop or manufacturer he was branding the body for. Examples I've seen have been Jackal. Obviously the Jackal is not as cut through. And Impact, which was a store in Southern California. Gene at autocockerparts.com has a body that's actually labeled Impact right here. On the bodies that Chris machined for Jackal Machine, they have the D10 on this side, and they have this blank plate on the reverse, which has Jackal machined into it. This body is threaded for a screw IVG on the back. On the front, it's bored out to a massive valve chamber and then has a threaded plug screwed in, which actually steps it down to 2K threads. So it's compatible with all 2K autococker components. Here's the front block that Chris made for Spanky and also included on his own autocockers. This example is 2K, but he also did pre-2K. Here's a back block that goes along with this body style, similar to the Spanky back block and similar to a back block that he machined for some Jackal autocockers. Here's Chris's vertical ASA. And here's Chris's wild feed neck.